Ministers from the United Kingdom are here in Davos meeting with business leaders, pitching them on private investment in the UK. Joining us right now is Rachel Reeves. She's the UK's Chancellor of the Exchequer. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
I have so many questions about tariffs, about all the conversations that are happening around Davos. But I'm just curious, you come here, you're meeting with lots of U.S. companies, frankly, to try to bring them to the UK. Where does that stand?
So my government is just 6 months old. We were elected in July last year, and we had a clear mandate in that election victory to grow the economy. To make working people in Britain better off.
Right.
And to get that economic growth, we need more investment into the UK. And so my message to US investors and global investors too is Britain is open for business. We want your investment. We're looking to reopen some of those trade links and investment links to bring more good jobs to Britain.
And you're meeting with folks like Goldman Sachs, KKR, Morgan Stanley, and others. I'm curious, since the other big conversation here is tariffs, both in terms of what the U.S. is going to do, we'll see, and whether there's going to be retaliation. What you think of that?
Well, first of all, I won't speculate on
Right.
what may or may not happen. But I do understand that President Trump is concerned about countries that are running a large and persistent surpluses on the trade balance with the US. That's not the case for the UK. We are not part of the problem here. The UK, increased trade with President Trump last time he was in office. And there's absolutely no reason why our two great nations with such a strong and special relationship can't increase those flows of trade once again.
I'm curious, talking about two countries that may not have that special relationship. I'm thinking of the U.S. and China. You were just in China with the vice premier. By the way, the vice premier was here, spoke about this idea of protectionism leading nowhere. A trade war has no winners. What were your conversations in China like?
I went to Beijing and Shanghai to try and get a better deal for UK financial services firms that operate in China, like HSBC and Standard Chartered. And I was able, during that economic and financial dialogue, to secure licences and quotas for big UK banks and asset managers that do business in China. That's in the UK's national interest. And that's what I will always do as Chancellor of the Exchequer, represent the interests of my country on the global stage, whether that is improving the ability of British businesses to export to China, improving our trade links with the European Union, or indeed strengthening the ties that we have with the United States, our biggest single trading partner.
Let me ask you about this. I don't know. I'm sure you saw this. Elon Musk has been attacking your government on X. You've seen him. He posted just last week. He said America should liberate the people of Britain from their tyrannical government. What do you make of the influence of Elon Musk, and what is the reaction to that in the UK?
Well, Elon Musk is entitled to his opinion, but he's not one of the people that votes in a UK general election. We had an election just over 6 months ago. We received a huge majority, a huge mandate for the change that we're bringing, that change to grow the economy and make working people better off, those changes to improve our schools and our health system. And that's what British people voted for. And that is what our Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, and me as Finance Secretary, as Chancellor of the Exchequer, are getting on and delivering.
Right. Let's talk about the finances, the economy in the country. And I'm thinking about the interest rate environment. You're probably not going to be willing to totally go there. But, there has been a global bond sell-off, and I would argue that the UK has been hit as a function of that.
Well, just before we began this interview, there was an update on what's happening in global markets. And the UK is not immune to what happens in global markets. But, I'm not going to provide a running commentary. What I would say, though, is that in the budget that I set out in October, I put out the fiscal rules that this government will operate within. And those fiscal rules are to pay for day-to-day spending through tax receipts and to get our debt down as a share of our GDP. Those fiscal rules are the bedrock of economic and fiscal stability. They're non-negotiable, and we will continue to meet them.